We've been talking a lot today about Senator Dodd's new bill aimed at preventing another financial meltdown and trying to resurrect rules for investment and eliminate rules for idle gambling with taxpayer money. The senator wants to strip the Federal Reserve of virtually all of its consumer protection and banking supervision duties, basically saying it failed miserably. Remember, the Fed is the one that created the architecture of too big to fail over the past 10 years and was the one that turned on the money printing presses last fall to bail out the big banks with no strings attached in collaboration with the U.S. Treasury Department. That just one of many failures that will be attempted to see if they can be reined in, not to mention the actual business model on Wall Street, which is not so much predicated on investment as much as it is on idle speculation with other people's money. Our next guest says it goes even deeper than that, though. In his brand new book, Hoodwinked, the self-described economic hitman John Perkins takes aim directly at Wall Street CEOs. He says they have been engaging in predatory capitalism where the entire system is exploited to benefit a small number of the already very rich. But he says there is a way to fix it. Joining us now in studio, John Perkins, the book Hoodwinked. Most people, I think, understand that the bank CEOs have perpetrated a terrible crime against the American people and used the government to do it. But in brief, tell us how you see their role in this.
Well, I think what's happened, Dylan, over the last 30 years particularly, is we've adopted a whole new system of economics. When I was in business school in the 60s, we were told that a good CEO had fiduciary responsibilities to his investors, his employees, his consumers, his suppliers. But in more recent years, the whole focus has been on short-term profits, regardless of the social and environmental costs, and also deregulation and privatization. So the very rich and very powerful have gotten richer and richer and more powerful.
And the bank CEOs specifically are the ones whose job it is to decide how much crooked insurance they're willing to sell.
Exactly.
And if they say sell more crooked insurance, they make more money, and they know full well that they can't bear the risk that they're taking. It's open theft.
It is open theft.
How do we fix it?
Well, I think we really need to look at the real cancer beneath the system. I wrote the book Hoodwinked because a lot of books are coming out talking about triage. You know, what do we do in the immediate future? But we've got to go deeper. We need all that. We need what Dodd is talking about. Sure. We need to get back to those laws. But we really need to go back into the system and redefine it and say, let's make profits. But let's also insist that our corporations have social and environmental responsibility. Profits only within the context of creating a sustainable, just and peaceful world.
But I would argue if you simply resurrected the rules of investment, in other words, if you sell this book, you make $1 million selling this book. And the question is, they say, okay, John, what are you going to do with your $1 million? And the government has set rules so that you can either take it to some hedge funds here in New York where there's a lot of insider trading and you can make a ton of money there, or you could take it to the Goldman Sachs into the crooked insurance market. You make a ton of money there. Or you could go out to college campuses or businesses in America and try and find a place to invest it. As long as the government allows you to either go to some insider trading or some crooked insurance, you're never going to invest that money. So it doesn't simply the act of making it illegal to do these other casino-like or openly fraudulent activities in hedge funds and swaps markets doesn't just forcing people like you, when you make a few bucks selling a book, or anybody in this country makes a few bucks running a laundromat or creating a media empire, that money has to be invested or lent into the system. You can't take it out and simply use it as a gambling chip at a government-sanctioned casino.
Well, that's an important first step. But I think we need to go beyond that. For the first 100 years when this country was the United States, no corporation could have a charter unless it could prove that it was serving the public interest. That all changed in the late 1800s when the Supreme Court decided that corporations had the rights of individuals. I think we need to go back to something like that says that corporations have to be there.
But who would decide that? I guess that's an admirable concept. But are you suggesting that the government would decide which corporation has positive social intent?
You know, I actually think we should have a board of citizens that changes every year that makes these kind of decisions, and it can be somewhat localized. But to begin with, it's we the people. Already now, we need to insist, when we buy something, let's buy it from a corporation that's making a commitment to a sustainable, just, and peaceful world. For my grandson, I have a 2-year-old grandson, and I have to know that he's not going to have homeland security until we see the whole planet as our homeland. Our corporations have to be responsible for the entire planet today. So let's only buy from those that are committed. They may not be 100% perfect, by any means, but that are moving down that path to create a sustainable, just and peaceful world.
It sort of goes back to the politicians aren't working for you. You do have your vote. We do have a free press, and we do have the money we spend after taxes.
Well, our vote in the marketplace is very important. The marketplace is ultimately democratic if we choose to make it that way.
Understood. Listen, John, a pleasure. Good luck with the book, Hoodwinked. The title, John Perkins, Confessions of an Economic Hitman, his first book. This one, Hoodwinked by Wall Street, how, again, they use a culture of giveaways, free insurance, cheap food, cheap oil, a cheap house, to then entrap a system in mountains of unpayable debt that then put them in charge and give them the wealth and leave the American people hostage to all sorts of broken systems. John does a great job on this subject, and it's a pleasure to spend a little bit more time with you.